Attorney Jonathan Elson, reminding you that if you've been injured in an auto accident, it's important to have somebody on your side. When you need a lawyer,
then you need Nelson.
Nye County District Attorney Chris Arabia has taken on the case concerning Est Alfa Kennels and the owner, Vitaly Platnov, and his ex-wife, Oksana Higgins, who was the caretaker of around 300 Gamfer or Chorka mixed Caucasian Shepherd dogs that have been rescued in Pahrump and Amargosa. This is part of an animal cruelty case that has been reported for many years to the county. The dogs are now in the custody and control of the Nye County Shelter, which is headed up by the Nye County Sheriff's Office. The ASPCA is now on board, which is a major game changer in this case. They have independent medical experts and investigators on this case, as well as our own animal control, veterinarians, and staff that are looking into not only the live animals, but the deceased puppies found in freezers and the dead dogs found in a pit that News 25 found and alerted authorities to when they were on scene. Earlier this year, the Nye County Animal Shelter traveled to Amargosa's location to find that these animals were living in poor conditions and were not being fed. Platnov relinquished rights to these dogs, and many were transported to Desert Haven Animal Society. Others had to be euthanized. Many animal rescues donated food to that facility at the time. Platnov at that time did not receive any criminal charges because he voluntarily relinquished the dogs. Originally, 34 criminal charges were thought to be filed against Higgins and Platnov. District Attorney Chris Arabia spoke with News 25 about why only 5 of those charges have been filed for both Platnov and Higgins so far, and if any negotiations will be made in regards to the charges and restitution to the county, and if Platnov will be allowed to own and breed animals again.
Originally, there was 1 count, and then we were submitted at one point. I think there were 32. We classified them into 5 categories, and there's 1 count for each category for now. Just taking the 5 counts, if they were to run consecutively, you could be looking at 95 to 240 months in prison, and 95 to 240. The point is that that's like 8 years minimum. So I don't know what's going to happen down the line, but for now it's 5 counts, and we'll see what happens as we get a more firm idea. But 5 counts is that's a lot. So, like I said, we're still in the early stages, given that when the arraignment is, and the charges could get modified up or down, between now and the arraignment, depending on how the evidence looks. And I would urge people to just keep in mind that the preliminary reports don't always have, and it's because they're preliminary, they don't always have the full picture. So, when we hear reports like the report about the frozen puppies, we're going to look at that, and it sounds awful, and maybe that's exactly what it is. We're going to see. But that's certainly, something I have myself, and actually the chief deputy for criminal are the ones who are kind of taking the point on this one for the office. That's the level of importance that we give to this case. There are times when a defendant wants to take a plea bargain because you get generally fewer counts, maybe a lesser offense, less time in jail potentially. And there are other times, I used to do defense, so I know there were a couple times, especially the federal system, where I had people plead guilty without a plea deal because, without getting into the technical aspects of it, there were advantages in those cases. So in this case, there might be a chance to negotiate something. The problem, or not the problem, but the consequence of that is, it's a negotiation. So if we want, for instance, someone to agree to, certain terms, they're going to want something in return, which would be, just hypothetically speaking, less of a punishment, less time in jail, whatever the case may be. He's got his opinion about that. He's also representing his client, and I'm not going to speculate and start pointing fingers at certainly the fine people in our animal control. Excuse me, if it turns out down the road that there's some issue with the way the county did things or animal control did things, then I guess we would have to look at that at that time. At this point, I don't know I don't have any basis for commenting on that one way or another, but like I said, my experience has been that the animal control people are really solid. Say one thing to the community, which is I think it's really terrific the way people have been trying to help. I think it says a lot about the kind of people who live in this community, and I know people love animals and they're doing the best they can, and times are tough for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have a lot of money, but they're still trying to help.